I really think it's important to have a reward system, and the reason why I think it's important is it kind of provides sort of like an incentive to you, and in my personal opinion, it's kept me on track, and yeah, it's been actually very beneficial. Now, I see like there are loads of people on YouTube that have very polarizing opinions on these things. A lot of people think that, you know, you have to like stay 100% focused at every single second, at every moment of your time, and I guess like it might be to emphasize the point about like keeping your head down and staying focused and stuff, and you know, I completely agree with that, but at the same time it kind of it kind of actually insinuates that you have to stay focused at all points, at every single moment in time, in order to be successful, and it doesn't really factor in the reality of things, and actually like it's more about a balance rather than one extreme. So I guess because like if you have an opinion where it's like an extreme, it kind of sells, right? It's quite nice to hear, but personally I feel like if you just have an extreme opinion like that, for example, where you have to stay focused 24/7, there's no other way around it, then it only leads to burnout, and personally that's what's happened to me before, and it's just not a sustainable way of working, and it's not a sustainable way of dealing with things. What I found is actually much more beneficial is actually just staying focused 100% at all times, but having moments where you can cut back, relax, you can break free from your normal structure, you can do the opposite thing that you were doing. Number one, what it kind of allows you to do is have a difference in your schedule, have a difference in your routine, and number two, because of that difference, it's like it doesn't get boring. It feels good to like bring a little bit of chaos in, because one person actually that really talks about this, the whole idea of chaos and order, is the psychologist Dr. Jordan Peterson. I'm assuming a lot of people know who he is just because he's quite famous now, but he really does talk about the idea of I mean, throughout the whole universe, throughout the whole, you know, your life, the whole notion of having chaos and order is just a key theme. And if you look from everywhere, like that key theme is everywhere. So, for example, you could say chaos and order. Well, order begins when you start life, and I guess you could say disorder or chaos when you end life. Or there's always good moments, there's always bad moments, right? And I think with routine, it's going to be like that, and the best way to do it is to find the balance. And I want to share kind of like what's actually my kind of perspective on this. So I try to stay focused about 90 to 95% of the time, and I like to break it down into months. So each month, each week, there's 4 weeks in a month, I try and stay as dedicated as possible, but maybe 2 times of those of each month, so once every 2 weeks, I'll do something out of my normal routine. So like, for example, I do one thing where I call it the marquee event, where it's like the key event of the month, where completely out of the blue, completely different to my normal structure. My normal structure is pretty much, you know, go to work, wake up, go to work, come back, work on my own projects, like basically YouTube video editing, and then go to bed. cycle and go to gym, repeat. That's basically me. That's my routine. Very bland, very boring, you could say. I enjoy it though. But there's not like it's not like where, like, I guess normal people, a lot of people, like, you know, they come home, relax, and that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is, it is natural to feel a bit bored sometimes when you have a very structured routine. So in order for kind of to balance that, I've had these marquee events. For example, this weekend would be my marquee event, where one of my friends is actually moving away across the country, so he's having a leaving party weekend, and I've decided to keep that as the marquee event because it just makes sense. So this weekend, I'm literally, you know, completely different from my normal routine. I'm going to be hanging out with them. It's basically a party, so it's just completely the polar opposite. So it's just stuff like that. Like, it doesn't have to be that, but it can be something completely different from your normal routine, where you can step out and just have a change for once. And if you, for example, like you have to enjoy life. You can't just go through life working every single split second just to be successful. Like, understand it's a great goal to have, and you should definitely try and aspire to be in that position. But, you know, in a blink of an eye, your life will just go. Like, I remember when I was 18, and that was like 5 years ago, and I just remember it like so well. So just enjoy the moments, like, enjoy spending time. The key thing here is to not overindulge, because if you overindulge in one thing, like, for example, if I really loved partying and I was to do it every single week, that's me overindulging, and I'm not making any progress in life there. Like, if anything, it's counterproductive for me. There's no point. But if you can have the self-awareness to keep it, you know, disciplined, maybe to have it once a month, then that's not overindulging. That's you breaking free from that routine, or breaking away from that routine, I should say, in order for you to stick to the routine. Sometimes you do have to take a step back to make the step forward. It's just natural. So don't ever feel like, you know, just because you're not on your routine at one point in time, that it's actually taking you back. Don't ever feel like that. It's just make sure that you're not overindulging in it. That's the only thing that you should be careful on. But no, I just really wanted to explain that, because there's always a lot of opinions on YouTube, and a lot of people say that, you know, you should grind 24/7, and I just think it's not the most sustainable thing. We're not robots. We have emotion. We have preferences. We have a life, so we have to enjoy it while we can as well. So just make sure you find that right balance. That's all I wanted to say, really. And stick to your routine, though. You know, stick to your routine. Stick to your routine, but don't be afraid to take the break when you need to. I'll see you in a bit.